Part 2. Then Mr. Grandmurrow left, and Holmes and I discussed the cases. "I am afraid that it is Kay blackmails," said Holmes. "And who is blackmailers?" I asked. "Well, it must be that creature with the yellow face. Upon my word, Watson, there's something very attractive about that yellow face at the window, and I would not miss it came from Rhodes." "Have you got a theory?" I asked. "Yes," Holmes replied. "I think her first husband is in the cottage. This is what I think happened. This woman was married in America. Her husband got a terrible disease. That's why he has that horrible yellow face. She ran away from him at last, and came back to England, where she changed her name and started a new life. After 3 years of marriage, she feels safe again, but her first husband, or some unscrupulous woman attracted to him, discovers where she lives. They write to her and tell her to send them £100, or they will tell her new husband everything. When her husband tells her that someone is living in the cottage, she knows that they are her blackmailers. In the middle of the night, while her husband is sleeping, she decides to go to the cottage. That night she is not able to convince her blackmailers to leave her alone, so she returned in the next day. That's when her husband saw her coming out of the house. She then promises her husband that she will not return, but she wants to get rid of her blackmailers. She decides to go again, and this time she brings a photograph, which they probably asked her for. Fortunately for her, her maid warns her that her husband is coming, and she and her blackmailers leave the house in time. Now we can do nothing except wait for Mr. Rumor calls us, and then we will see if my theory is correct. We do not have to wait long. After tea, we received a message from Mr. Munro saying there are people in the house. That night, Holmes and I took a train to Norbury. Mr. Munro were waiting for us at the station, and he took us to the cottage. Then, when we arrived there, Holmes asked Mr. Munro if he was sure he wanted to enter the cottage. Mr. Munro said he was sure, and we went to the door of the cottage. As we approached the door, a woman suddenly appeared. It was Effie. "For God's sake, do not check," she cried. "Trust me. I have judged you too long." "Effie," she cried sternly, "let go of me. My friends and I are going to solve this mystery." We rushed up to the chair to light the room. In one corner there were chairs, and at that desk there was a desk, and at that desk there appeared to be a little girl. Her face was turned away from us when we entered the room, but we could see she was wearing a dress and long white gloves. She turned around to us, and I gave a cry of surprise and horror. Her face was a strangest yellow color, and it had absolutely no expression. A moment later, some materials were explained. Holmes, with a laugh, put his hand behind the ears of the little girl and pushed off the mask. And there was a little coal-black girl. She laughed, and I laughed too, but Grandmurrow stood staring with his hand holding his throat. "My God!" he cried. "What does it mean?" "I will tell you everything," cried his wife with a brown face. "You have forced me, and now we must both accept the situation. My husband died at Atlanta. My child survived." "Your child?" cried Grandmurrow. She pulled out a locket, and inside the locket was a picture of a very handsome and intelligent man, but a man who was obviously of American descent. "This is John Hebrew of Atlanta," said Mrs. Munro, "and he was a very noble man. I cut myself off from my race to marry him, but I never regret it for a moment. Unfortunately, for our only child took after his pupil darker than mine. She is very dark, but she is my dear little girl." When the little girl heard these words, she ran to her mother. "I left her in America with a trusted servant," Mrs. Munro continued, "because she was not very healthy, but I never considered abandoning her. When I met you by chance and learned to love you, I was afraid to tell you about my trial. I was afraid to lose you. I kept her existence a secret from you for 3 years, but finally I have to see my little girl. I sent the servant £100 and told her to come to the cottage. I took every possible precaution so that there would not be gossip about the little black girl. That is why she was that yellow mess. You told me about her arrival in the cottage, and that I had to see her, and that was the beginning of my troubles. And now, tonight, you know everything. What are you doing? What are you going to do about me and my child?" Mr. Grant Munro did not say anything for 2 minutes, and his answer was one of which I love to think. He lifted the little child, kissed her, and with the little girl in his arms, he gave his other hand to his wife. "We can talk it over more comfortably at home," he said. "And I am not a very good man, Effie, but I think that I am better than you thought." We all left the cottage together, and Jane Holmes and I returned to London. We did not say another word about the case until the late night at Holmes' house in Baker Street, just before Holmes went to bed. "Watson," he said, "if you should ever think that I am becoming too confident in my powers, or that I am not working hard enough on a particular case, please whisper Norbury in my ears, and I will infinitely obliged to you."